Hey guys, my name is TJ Chili, and my partner in crime is Joseph Artigliano. This is the podcast This is TNJ's podcast, and today we'll be discussing various topics that Joe will tell us about. Joe will tell you about these topics.
TNJ? That's a very creative name.
Yeah, it's kind of like PB&J, except it's like you know,
Tej and J.
yeah.
Um, alright, first topic. I have been informed by underground investigator, aka Text Chat, that you've seen the movie Spider-Man Homecoming. What did you think of it?
I thought it was very good acting throughout the movie from great actors like Iron Man, played by Downey Jr., and Michael Keaton, who was the villain, who was actually the original Batman in the 80s, Batman, the early 90s. Um, and the Spider-Man was a great choice. I thought he did a great job. He was fantastic, and he's fairly young, so
He's
uh,
20, I think.
yeah, so they can definitely use him for many years. And overall, I think Spider-Man, this movie, along with the character Spider-Man, is a great addition to the Marvel universe. And I'm expecting sequels to come.
I am also expecting sequels to come. I thought Tom Holland was Uh, might be the best Spider-Man ever yet. Toby,
Definitely better than Garfield for sure. Garfield sucked.
really? You thought Garfield sucked?
Yeah.
I think he's definitely better than Toby Maguire. Like
Ah.
100%.
Well, no. There was one Spider-Man, Spider-Man 3, that was really cringy. Other than that, I thought the second Spider-Man, the second original Spider-Man, was great, and the first one was still pretty good. I mean, come on, you have James Franco, Tobey Maguire,
Yes,
and
that when James Franco was the Green Goblin
yeah,
that was
that's
good. That one was good. But I feel like Tobey Maguire just doesn't show enough emotion. Like I feel like if you're telling him something really serious, then he wouldn't really show that much emotion, like happiness or sadness. Like he'd show
I
some, but it's not. I wouldn't say it's his strong point.
I mean, like, oh, no offense, but by the time Spider-Man 3 rolled around, Tobey Maguire was married with kids.
Yeah,
So to be
Tobey Maguire
honest,
was really old. Honestly, he's like the oldest Spider-Man out of all of them. I think
yeah,
he's like
Garfield,
he's 40 now. I think Tobey Maguire.
yep, 42, I believe. But I don't even see him anymore. I don't know where he went.
Yeah, I thought Andrew Garfield was good, but
Yeah,
I feel like Tom Holland knocked it out of the park.
yeah.
He
The
was
problem
better
with
than I
Andrew
expected.
Garfield is that he was actually 29, believe it or not, when his Spider-Man first was in the theaters. He was born in 1983, so he's 34. Yeah, I thought he was a little too old as well, but still made it work. And I just thought that Emma Stone was really great as well, but I felt that the Harry Osborn and uh, the Amazing Spider-Man was too emo. It's played by Dane DeHaan. He was very emo, and I felt that the villains did not really do a great job in comparison to
The
the
Spider-Man.
earlier
Yeah.
incarnations of Spider-Man, the Maguire versions.
I am very glad that they didn't do like a whole new origin story because I did not want to see the Green Goblin him fight
Yeah,
the Green Goblin one more time. I mean,
yeah,
I've seen it too much. I don't I don't want it. Like
yeah. I mean,
it
there's
wasn't
no.
really. They showed the origin story of the villain that he's just like taking care of his kids and stuff, and like he's doing it all for his family, which is nice. And that twist at the end that the villain, the Vulture, is really
The father of
the
his
father
crush.
of his crush. Yeah, that was, and that whole car scene where they're kind of on edge, and the
They're
vulture
building
was
up the
just yeah, they
tension.
were just the vulture was just like figuring out that Peter is Spider-Man. Like that was a really good scene.
Yeah. Overall, I thought that Keaton did a great job as the villain. I thought that the Green Goblin, the first one, was good, but I felt that he was a little too comic-like. They needed to show a more human side, which I thought Vulture in this movie did a great job of showing. Because
Yes.
they showed like
Yeah.
he did this to take care of his family and stuff, and he was kind of overcome by greed and the desire to dominate. So
Yeah.
overall, this movie, I'm definitely expecting sequels. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
How
Over,
would you rate the movie out of like 10?
I would rate it a 9, a solid 9 out of 10. Overall, I said the acting was great. Special effects were good as well, especially the scene with the fairy. I thought they had some great special effects. Um, the one problem that I have with the movie is that I felt that they were trying to be too comical at times. In like serious moments throughout the movie, they were trying to make it seem funny and loosen the tension when I felt that it should have been
Like
more
what
serious.
part? Like the only part I'm thinking of right now would be maybe the when they're in the bank with the ATMs.
Yeah, definitely that ATM scene. I mean, well, and also like when Spider-Man enters into a villain, he always says these really cheesy catchphrases. But
Yes. Yeah. 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 Oh.
other than
Oh
that,
crap. Oh my god. We forgot to say spoiler alert. Gosh darn it. But no, wait. I'll
well,
put it in the title. I'll put it in the title.
but overall, I mean, and I think that a lot of people who are tuning into this podcast have already watched it. So
Yeah, it's been out for a couple days now, so
yeah,
I think it's
it's
pretty
been
pretty
around for
good.
like a little less than a week, correct?
Yeah, it's been out for like it came out on last Monday or last Sunday.
Yeah, I think it was last Monday, or I don't really know.
Yeah, but I like your score, solid 9. I'd give it like a 9.2 because I thought it was really good.
That was fair. That's
Yeah,
fair.
I really like. Would you go see it again? I'd go see it again.
I'd go see it again for sure. But I mean, once you see it the second time, the great thing is that you can pick up on details. But
Yeah, you could pick up on details that you never spotted before when you saw it the first time.
yeah, but
Um,
I'll
like
say
I.
this.
Oh wait, you can go. You can.
You can go first, actually. So,
Well, mine's a little off topic. Like I saw the Lego Movie 3 times. I freaking loved that movie. That movie was so good. Like I people might argue, oh, it's a freaking children's movie. You saw it 3 times. It's not even that good. I just saw it when I had the opportunity to see it. I'd go see it. 'Cause that movie was I liked that movie. But you go now.
I like Lego Batman as well. That was a pretty good
Yes,
movie,
that was a pretty good movie too.
but not as good as Lego Movie. But anyway, I would say one thing about this movie is that it was definitely better than Wonder Woman. I saw Wonder Woman as well, and I'm not going to give any spoilers. We'll do that another time. But
Yeah, I need to watch Wonder Woman. I haven't seen it yet. How was it? How was it?
it was good. It was, but in
Give like
comparison
a
to
no spoiler review of the movie for
yeah,
our
it was
audience.
overall it was pretty good acting. I liked the combo of Wonder Woman and the character that Chris Pine played, and Chris Pine's the James T. Kirk on the modern Spider-Man. I mean, the modern Star Trek. Just want to let you know about that. And
Yeah.
I thought it was a great movie, though. But I felt like most DC movies, they try to make it too dark and gritty to the
Yes,
point where
I
it's
also
more about
yeah.
action.
It's more about the fighting and all that stuff instead of the actual characters, which I think Spider-Man did really well on kind of balancing it out.
Yeah, for
Like
sure.
some of the scenes that were in there were really so detailed, like the car scene, were so better than some of the action scenes. Cause that's probably my most favorite scene of the movie, where the Vulture's just realizing in the car with like the three kind of main characters. Well,
That's
obviously Ned isn't in the car. I really like Ned, but
yeah,
like that was a really good scene.
yeah. That's one of my favorites. I felt like Iron Man was a little too overprotective.
Yes, I think Iron Man, they showed a little bit too much Iron Man. It was more like Iron Man plus Spider-Man Homecoming instead of just Spider-Man. Like, I get it, Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr. is really great Iron Man. However, like, I feel like he's Spider-Man. I mean, how are you going to be this protective? He fought with you in Captain America Civil War.
He actually took Captain America's shield.
Yes, yeah. And
Yeah,
those references to Civil War, like when he was telling Ned, his like best friend, oh, I took Cap's shield. It was so cool. Those references to Civil War, I felt were also pretty good. Like they didn't do too much of them. I
yeah.
liked it a
I
lot.
thought that Ned was. I thought the acting was from Ned's part was pretty good.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree.
All right. Do you want to move on to the next topic, or
Sure. We will move on to the next topic, which
which
is
game
what
of
is
Would You Rather?
Yes, a game of Would You Rather. Okay, what I'm going to do right now, I am going to open Google and go on the Would You Rather game, because there is one.
Well,
Um,
I just wrote down some questions.
okay. So you could do yours first, and then I could do some of mine. Alright.
All right. While you keep looking, I will give you the questions.
Yes, what is your question?
Okay. So, our first question is: Would you rather binge watch DC movies or Marvel movies? The best of DC and the best of Marvel, to be more specific.
So there's no like bad movies. It's just kind of just the really great ones.
Yeah. It's like it's like, you know, the Dark Knight trilogy. That those are obviously the best DC movies.
Yes, I
So
really like
I would
those
do
movies.
that, and then like the best Marvel movies, which would be like the Avengers.
Yeah.
Uh,
Um,
uh,
for me, it's a really good question. Um, I'd probably go DC. I like Batman. Um, and I love Marvel and DC like equal, but as a character, as characters wise, I like Batman just a little bit more than Iron Man and
and Captain America.
and Captain America.
But
Yeah,
overall, I thought the Avengers and like some other great Marvel movies would be like the original Spider-Mans, not the
yeah,
third one, but you know, and they I thought Civil War was great as well, but I would
yeah.
have to give the nod to DC as well. Uh,
Like the Dark Knight series is such a good series.
yeah,
I
I mean,
mean,
like
it's really good.
the first one is comparable to the first Spider-Man, but the second one knocks it out of the park. The second one
Yeah,
was, I think, the best superhero movie I've ever seen. I mean, the suspense in that movie was unreal. Acting was unreal. Um,
it's all great. It's all great. The Dark Knight. It's all great.
yeah. And have you know Heath Ledger, right? His performance was the greatest performance I've ever seen in modern
Was
cinema.
was he Bane? Was
He
he?
was Joker.
Oh, oh yes, him. Oh my God, the Joker in the Dark Knight series. Oh my God, he's so good.
Yeah, it's kind of sad what happened to him, though. I mean, but
Yeah. All right, I got one for you, Teach. It's actually pretty good. Work for Apple and know all of their secrets, or work for Google and know all their secrets.
can you repeat that again?
All right. Work for Apple and know all of their secrets, or work for Google and know all of their secrets.
Ah, that is a tough
It's
question.
tough. It's tough, right?
Yeah, but
I know
I
what I
was
would go for.
I'd go for Apple, believe it or not.
Really? I'd go for Google.
I'd go for Apple because Steve Jobs overall I'd like to know what really happened between Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak. I mean, there's a lot of like movies and documentaries surrounding that and info, but I don't know the real answer behind
Yeah.
it. It's like the real history and Apple's history, like the ups and downs it's gone through, the Macintosh, the Apple II, the iMac, all these new products were released before anyone knew who Google was. So
Yeah.
overall, I thought I'd rather know Apple's secrets and work for them than.
Like, I see where you're coming from. Like, but for Google, it's kind of the same thing, I guess. Because Google has, just like Apple, Apple has all these, they have computers, they have phones, they have all this stuff. But I think Google also has, like, Google, they just have Google with their, like, search history. You could, like, they know all, like, about everyone with their, like, emails and stuff. And they also own YouTube, so you
That
can
is true.
know, like, all the YouTube algorithm and all how to get famous on YouTube.
Yeah.
But yeah. Alright.
But hold on, just before we move, before I
Ooh,
ask my next question,
before
the
you
thing.
ask whatever you're about to say, the difference 66% Google and 34% Apple. Just by the way.
What?
Yeah,
Wow,
serious.
that is
But you
crazy.
do have fair points. You do have fair points.
Like the myths surrounding Apple, and it's too hard to pass up, to be honest. And I could get free products from there, so
That's a
that'd be
good
nice.
point. Like you could work for it says you're working for Apple. So you
So I
just
can get.
get a bunch of Macs and iPhones. Work for Google. I don't know what you get out of working for Google.
You get
A
probably
Pixel maybe?
VR,
I mean,
and I don't know. I'm not really a big fan of VR, to be honest. Like it's good, but
like I
it's
don't
just
think it's worth the amount of money that they're selling it for.
yeah,
I think it's worth the amount of money as like a little bit less than a game console.
yeah.
But
I
if
would
when VR improves more, I feel like it'd be worth the money, like $500. Like PlayStation VR right now is like $500. Like,
It's
oh
like
my
I'm not
god,
buying that.
I'm not buying that. I could buy like a PS4 and a bunch of games for that amount of money.
And
And
same thing
yeah,
with the Facebook Oculus. I felt like the price it's at. I think it's at $3.99 or something. I'm more of an Xbox guy. I'd rather buy an Xbox with a bunch of
right,
games
right,
than an Oculus
right.
Rift, in my opinion. But all right,
All right,
let's move on to
you're
the next question. Would you rather live in Russia or would you rather live in China?
Russia, probably. What would you do?
Mm. I would definitely live in Russia,
Yeah,
but
China's like so overpopulated. That's just what I think of when it comes to China. Population, I mean,
population density in China is amazing. 1.4 billion people. Uh, that's that's the most in the world. That's like pretty sure like 15% of the world's population versus Russia, which is one of the biggest country, but only 150 million.
yeah.
So
Alright,
yeah, I'd pick Russia, even though it's colder. Right?
I'm just finding one that's good. Uh, wait, okay. Here's kind of a weird one. Fight 3 bulls at the same time, or fight 10 bulls at one time. I don't really
Wait,
know what that means. Like, at
fight.
one time? Doesn't that mean at the same time?
Yeah. Just say
It's
10 bulls
weird.
at a different time? I think that may be what it
Yeah,
means.
it's 51 and 49 right now, the percentage.
Okay.
I
I have
don't,
a really good one, but I'm going to answer your question. Um, I would.
It's basically the same thing, but with 3 bowls and 10 bowls.
I would. I would. It would. But I don't know. I feel like that was probably misspelled or something because
Yeah,
one
it's
time is the same
misworded.
time. But I would definitely fight 3 bulls. I mean, not definitely, but I'd fight 3 bulls at the same time.
Yeah, not 10 at one time, which is basically the same thing as saying at the same time.
Yeah.
Alright, moving on to yours.
Yeah. How about this? Let's do one more round
Each?
of Would You Rather.
Yeah, one more each.
Okay. Would you rather go back in time or would you rather go to the future?
You know, that's that's kind of one that people like do all the time, but it's a really good one to do. I'd probably like, can I go back or forward in time multiple times or just once?
Just once.
Ooh, that's tricky. I'd probably go to the future because you know all that like oh, if you mess something up in the past, then it'll affect the future. So like if you go back and see all the stuff in the past, I guess, but you won't be able to affect anything because mess with the future. But if you just go into the future, it won't mess with the present because it already it's hard to explain, but you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I'd rather go into the future because I feel like I can learn a lot about the past from
Yeah.
Other resources like going online.
Yeah,
or,
see all the trends and stuff, kind of. Yeah, see who wins the Super Bowl in the future and like bet a bunch of money on it.
That sounds like Back to the Future. That
Yeah.
sounds so much like it.
All right, I got a good one. Would you rather always know when people are lying or always get away with lying?
Oh my gosh.
I know what I'd go for. I'd go for always know when people were lying.
I'd go the other way.
Really? Why?
If I were a CIA, but here's the thing: if I were
it depends what your profession is, I guess. Like, what works better for you?
if I'm like a lawyer or a CIA interrogator, then I would definitely go for I would know whether everyone's lying. But if I were just like a nurse or a
normal
doctor or not really. Yeah, just a nurse or doctor.
Well, when are you gonna lie to people in those professions, though? You're gonna like lie that someone has cancer or something?
I mean, that'd be stupid, and that would kind of make you a horrible person.
Yeah. But like what? I use like so much. Anyways. But the thing is, you never get caught. You always get away with it. So, like, I guess no consequences happen to you because you're lying. But, like, it could really, I guess you can get out of a lot of situations by always getting away with it. But, like, if you always, like, people just lie, just out of nowhere. They don't even realize they're doing it because, like, it's such a common thing that people do. But
also,
if you always get away with it,
kind of a sin.
Yeah, and you always get away with it. I don't know what the problem is. I'm just saying you always get away with it. I think there's some sort of I can't come out with the words that are kind of like justify my point because you always get away with it. But I'd always know when people are lying because then you'd always look like really professional because you call people out on their lies.
Yeah, the person talks slightly like you can tell by their body language whether they touch their face or no eye contact or whether their voice has a higher pitch than their usual voice.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. So I'm gonna click on one. Ooh, Tej, so close. So, always get away with lying has 43%. Always know when people are lying has 57.
Wow. That is definitely so. That's definitely a good question.
Whoa, the next one? You don't have to give an explanation for this, but I'm just going to ask you this next one, because it's actually kind of cool. Be James Bond or be Jason Bourne?
I
James
Bond.
Yeah, I'd go with James Bond, too.
James Bond always
He's James Bond. Oh my god, not even close. 79% James Bond, 21% Jason Bourne.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's not that close. Alright, this is my last one.
Alright.
After this, we'll be moving on to my favorite topic of all.
Alright, what you got?
Would you rather, let's say, their heydays, like when these two companies were at their best. I mean, when I'm going to go into sports, so teams in this case. Would you rather play, this is football, would you rather play for the Seahawks, or would you rather play for the, what's that team again, trying to get their name.
What does it teach? What team?
The Ravens.
The Ravens? Yeah. Well, I guess it depends on kind of like personal preference, because like you either like the Seahawks but in terms, there's kind of two ways I could go for that. Like for me, because I'm a Patriots fan, I don't like the Seahawks. Well, it's not just because I'm a Patriots fan. I just don't like the Seahawks. They have so many front runners on their team. They're really annoying. They're all a bunch of jocks. I hate them.
And they're cocky.
Yeah, and they're cocky just because you won one Super Bowl.
Like, to be honest, they could have won two, but...
They could have won two, but their coach is a freaking idiot.
Yeah.
Because you have, like, the best running back in the league at that point, and you don't run the ball in the final play that wins you the game.
That's just...
Yeah, that's just stupid. But in terms of, like, money-wise, like, professional, kind of being on a good team, like my salary, I'd go for the Seahawks. But if it was on my personal team preference, the team that I actually like, then I'd go for the Ravens.
Plus, the Ravens, like, the Seahawks, they're, like...
The Ravens are good. Like, I mean, they're not the worst. But, I mean, the Seahawks, like, they're so much more popular. And you'd get a much more, like, greater salary, I think.
Plus, to be honest, I mean, the Ravens and their, like, when they were at their best were better. The Seahawks at their best decide to throw the ball on the 1 yard line while...
Yeah, the Seahawks at their best won them one Super Bowl and then just blew a Super Bowl.
Yeah, while the Ravens actually won 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
And the franchise itself was made 20 years ago, while the Seahawks were made 40 years ago. So...
Yeah. Like, I mean, the Ravens have always been, like, they've never been really bad, I don't think. Like, they've always been a competition.
Yeah,
I mean,
sure.
they've never been, like, really bad, like they're a joke. Like
the Browns.
Like the Browns. But, I mean, the Seahawks, they were, like, nothing before that Super Bowl.
Like, come on, like, they made a Super Bowl in 2005, but other than that, they have, like, one Hall of Famer, so...
Yeah.
The Ravens have multiple. I could give you some names off the top of my head. I can give you Ray Lewis, and I could give you Shannon Sharp, Rod Woodson. Seahawks, it's Steve Largent. Other than that, I mean, like, I don't know if Richard Sherman or Russell Wilson's going to be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I mean, like, they were really good, but now, like, I'm not saying now that they're terrible, like the Browns, like, they just immediately declined, but, I mean...
They're not as good.
They're not as good.
Well, to be honest, if Marshawn stayed there a few more years, though, then that could have changed things, but... He's on the Raiders. So.
Alright, Tej, you got like 10 minutes, or like, cause where are we going? 40-minute mark?
Yeah.
Alright, you got 10 minutes to talk about, yes, what, folks? Tennis.
Yeah, it is about tennis. So, for the women's, Garbine Muguruza, Venezuelan tennis player, beat Venus Williams 7-5, 6-0. And there are reasons to why Muguruza has strong ground strokes in comparison to Venus. Also, Muguruza is 23, I believe, while Venus Williams is 38 or running 39. So, and at the end of the day, Venus got tired, and Muguruza just kept pounding and pounding, while Venus started missing and missing. Anyway, so that overall, I thought that game was okay. The second set was horrible, just horrible. But the first set, that was a good set to watch, but you kind of saw cracks in Venus's game as it went on. But I'll say this though: if Serena Williams were in that same position, then if it weren't for her pregnancy, then I think that Garbine Muguruza would have one less Grand Slam. Anyway, let's move on to the men's. Federer beat Marin Cilic, the 6th ranked in the world. Federer beat him in straight sets. The scores were 6-3, 6-1 to 6-4. Now, it was relatively a pedestrian game. I've seen better in my lifetime, but I thought Federer played great. I mean, and I thought he just played great tennis overall, and his game was just so complete. And the competition itself was waning because Murray and Djokovic and Nadal, they all lost before the semis. So at that point, you kind of knew Federer was going to win. But Federer has 19 Grand Slams, the most by any man in the open court era. Cilic, meanwhile, has 1. It was in the U.S. Open a couple years back. And overall, I think Cilic had a slip that ended up, he was actually crying from it, but he was told that he could play, and he continued to play. That was definitely also a big factor in why he lost. But in terms of the men's, like the others, Murray and Djokovic, they both had injuries. Djokovic had an elbow injury, and Murray, I believe, I do not know Murray's injury, but he lost in 5 sets in a great match against Querrey. As for Nadal, I thought Nadal would have that game against Gilles Muller, the 15th ranked in the world, I believe. It was a 5-set match. It was great, but in a 28-game 5th set event, Muller won, I think, 15-13. It's a great game. I think the best I've seen in the Wimbledons this year, and the best Grand Slam game in 2017 so far. But yeah, that's a wrap for tennis.
That's a wrap on the tennis segment. I just honestly let you talk because I don't really know a lot about tennis. You know a lot about tennis, Tej. Jeez. All I know is that Roger Federer won, right?
But Roger Federer, just saying, he's probably the greatest tennis player in existence. I think you and I could definitely both agree on that. I mean, yes. Other than maybe, and even Serena. Serena was tried out for the men's at one point. She did not do very good. I do not know her ranking, but she did not do very good. Serena has 23 Grand Slams. That's tied with Steffi Graf for the most by any woman.
I think Serena Williams is a monster, honestly. Not like a monster as in like, oh, she's so good, but like a physical monster.
Yeah. Actually, I was wrong. Serena has 1 more than Steffi Graf, but overall, Serena's just on another level compared to every other woman in the planet. Look at her competition. Kerber is good, but I think she's a great player in terms of like bending her legs and technique. But Serena beats her out because Serena has sheer power. and her serve is equal to that of a men's serve. So to be honest, and there's another player, Sharapova, who has Serena's pretty much dominated her, and I think she used illegal vitamins. So there's really no contest in this era. Serena's better than any player since Steffi Graf, and is probably better than Steffi Graf now. But yeah, and as for Djokovic and Murray, they're getting older, so hopefully they watch out for their injuries, because again, if they want to be the greatest, they have to overcome injuries like how Federer did when he had back injuries and knee injuries. Same thing with Nadal, he had other injuries as well.
Right.
So, yeah.
It has been 5 minutes. Wait, just a couple more seconds. The tennis segment was 6 minutes long. And the time we've been broadcasting, it has been 36 minutes.
That is pretty good. So.
Alright. I have a good would you rather. Just to wrap up to meet the 40-minute mark.
Okay.
Would you rather produce a low-budget film with your best friends and have the time of your life, or produce a Hollywood blockbuster with people you detest and make a ton of money?
Well, for me, it would definitely be the low budget, because Hollywood, if you're famous and if you're a celebrity, there's a lot of stress that comes with it. I mean, you get great money, but other than that, it's a pretty stressful lifestyle versus having more fun with friends. I think I would definitely choose that. And if you were to eventually become famous, you'd probably lose most of those friends. So,
yeah, I'd do the low budget film. Yeah. But, however, the people of Would You Rather say 53% produce a Hollywood blockbuster and 47% produce a low budget film.
See, I can understand where they're coming from, but
yeah, I mean, you hate the movie, but you made so much money off of it, so you owe your savings in your life to this stupid movie that you hate.
But I mean, to be honest, money does not buy happiness.
I think it could.
Well,
sometimes.
Yeah, if your dream is to become rich, and once you become rich, then you're happy, then I guess that's a case where that could work.
It could buy things that make you happy, but, physically, it can't buy happiness. You can't physically buy happiness.
And also,
it's a metaphorical thing, but you can buy things that make you happy. So I think it can in some cases. But also, if you spend a bunch of money on stuff you don't even want, then money can't buy happiness. Yeah. But yeah.
Hold on, Joe. I'm gonna be speaking. I'm gonna move out. I'll be going into my room because there are others in this room currently.
Yeah. Alright.
Alright, but yeah, if it were a good movie though, like a fun movie,
then
yeah, that would be
like Spider-Man: Homecoming, coincidentally.
Spider-Man: Homecoming, Anchorman. I definitely watch it. Alright, so is that a wrap?
That's a wrap. We'll see you guys in the next podcast. Hope you all enjoyed.
Alright, sounds good.
See you guys later. Sounds good. See you guys later.